Right, can I just ask you to describe the incident then as it happened?
Well, we're just fishing on a fine day. All of a sudden I heard this shout, and I knew it was a different shout to the normal shout.
So it's just the two of you aboard?
No, there's three of us.
Three of you, right, okay.
There was Sean and Daz, two crewmen. Daz, it was only Daz's 5th day on the boat. Right. So he was fairly new to procedures. I turned and looked around and just saw Sean disappearing out with the creel through the opening, the shooting gate in the back at the stern there. Well, Daz was still here. He'd actually got a coil of rope around his foot. He just kicked his boot off to get the coil off his foot. But I asked Daz to watch the point that Sean left the boat while I turned the boat round to come and pick him up. Just continued to move to the buoy to pick up the end that I'd just shot off. Right. So I just lifted him up as quick as I could, but I didn't want to go too fast in the fear of losing Sean or doing more damage to him if he was still attached.
Yeah. So Sean then was actually underwater 4 minutes until you got him alongside, and then maybe a minute or so before you get his head?
So, at least two, possibly even 3 minutes, just struggling. You know, we were undoing the loop there with his head underwater, and then we were trying to lift him up. And then when Daz was holding on to him, his head was in the water. You know, just
so looking at like 7 or 8 minutes in
the water. So up to 8 minutes, maximum of 8 minutes, I'd say. But Daz and myself got a hand each, and we were trying to lift him up over the side, but he weighed about 17 stone, so I said to Daz, hold on to him while I go and get a length of rope so we can attach it to him and lift him up. So Daz was struggling to hold on to him, and we got the rope and managed to attach it onto his arm, put 2 or 3 turns round his arm with half hitches, and then managed to lift him up with the davit with his arm. And Daz was pulling on the other arm. We managed to then swing him up onto the side and then laid him down. This was full of rope down here, but give him a nice soft landing on the rope. And just laid him down here, and then I turned him on his side first to try and get any water out of his mouth and his nose. Yeah. And then put him on his back, and then started doing CPR.
So how many compressions and breaths were you doing?
I was doing 10 to 2 breaths and then 10 compressions. Right, okay. So after about 2 minutes of me doing that, I handed over to the other boy, Daz, and asked him to continue while I did the Mayday to the Coast Guard. So that would have taken 2 or 3 minutes to get the information to the Coast Guard, and they were sending a helicopter on the way. And then after that I said to Daz to steer the boat while I came out and had another session on Sean doing CPR. And I noticed after about a minute he coughed and started to show signs of life. Right. And then he started breathing, so I turned him onto the recovery position on his side. There was like foamy pink blood coming out of his nose and his mouth. Right. And I believe that's to do with the lungs, because his lungs had burst. Right. Internal bleeding, yeah. And yeah, I mean his eyes obviously looked lifeless, you know, they were just half shut. And, yeah. But it took us about half an hour to get to the pier here, and the helicopter arrived just as we were arriving at the pier. So you were steering the boat, the other deckhand was doing the CPR all the way to the pier there? Yeah. Well, once he started breathing, right, we asked for a doctor, to speak to a doctor, and the doctor just confirmed that, you know, now that he's breathing, just keep him in the recovery position. And then I asked the doctor about would it help if we keep him warm,
Right.
And she agreed.
So obviously you got some knowledge of first aid. That was that coming from a course.
Aye, that was on a FITA course that I did about 5 years ago.
Right.
I had done a course before then, but it was a long time ago. So you know, I don't think I would have had the knowledge to have been able to do the CPR properly without the FITA course.
Yeah.
I was made a complete recovery. You know, he's actually been fishing now. I think this is finished his second week.